The Black Friday PSN sale is absolutely massive this year, and I've got 15 incredible games to share with you covering the US, Canada, UK, EU and Australia. And it's just the start. This is the first of 3 videos I'm dropping on the sale this week, so if you enjoy weekly PlayStation reviews, deals and news, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on it, and it supports the channel a huge amount. It helps us bring you more content. Now, let's get into this. Astro Bot is 17% off, a brand new release and already at a new low price. The adventure begins after the PS5 mothership crash lands, scattering Astro and his bot crew across over 50 planets. Now you must search for your lost crew across a multitude of locations. And the gameplay here, it's all about mastering Astro's powers, battling enemies and taking on massive bosses. All while the DualSense controller, it brings every hop, punch and crash to life. Plus it features over 150 iconic characters in what is a celebration of 30 years of gaming history. Now I will say here, I haven't played this yet, but Jeeb has, and if you saw our This Week on PlayStation video on Friday, you'll know he's now a part of the channel creating content here weekly. I'll link that video down below, go welcome him, but he loves this game and I do trust his take on it. He is basically this massive platformer head. This one, I'm sure it's going to be a popular pick this Black Friday, and I'm actually considering adding it to my own library. RoboCop, a Rogue City, is down to a new low price with 67% off. It's an absolute gem, taking on the role of the legend kind of part man, part machine, or cop. You'll patrol the dangerous streets of old Detroit in this first-person shooter. You will be armed with the iconic Auto 9 and then a wide arsenal of over 20 different weapons. So yeah, get out there, eliminate threats with just overwhelming firepower. Additionally, you can enhance RoboCop's cybernetic abilities and strength, making him this even more unstoppable force. The game's open-ended missions let you choose how to enforce justice, whether it's investigating crime scenes, interrogating suspects, or just simply keeping the streets safe. Your choices will shape both the story and the city itself, as you uncover a conspiracy set between RoboCop 2 and 3, with Peter Weller then returning to voice the character as well. The nostalgia, in my opinion, is just perfect. And yeah, I think honestly this one exceeded my expectations. I had concerns going in. You know, this character's pretty kind of slow moving, it could be dull. Plus, let's face it, licensed games don't exactly have a perfect history, but yeah, they absolutely nailed it. The Outlast Trials is 50% off a new low price, and this is one of my recent addictions. This first-person horror game thrusts you into Murkoff Corporation's twisted experiments, where you will face terrifying trials either solo or with friends, and the goal is simple: survive, complete your therapy sessions, and earn your freedom, but expect here to be forever changed. Each trial offers this unique nightmare to overcome, from escaping a sadistic prison warden to surviving in a kind of horrifying orphanage-like setup. The maps are basically creepy, and the final escape, especially the final challenge, particularly brutal. What really hooks me though is the community. The hub area lets you personalize your own room, even take breaks with activities like chess or arm wrestling with other players. There's also a perk system, and yeah, I think Red Barrels are pouring so much love into this one with regular updates. Stellar Blade is 29% off a new low price, and honestly enjoyed this one a lot. At launch there was some kind of noise around the skimpy outfits, but like, I get the debates, but for me, characters can look however the designers envision as long as the gameplay delivers, and Stellar Blade absolutely nails the gameplay. Plus they just dropped a Nier Automata DLC which I need to dive into soon myself. Now as for the gameplay, it's an action adventure following Eve, who returns to a decimated Earth to reclaim it from a force wiping out humanity. The combat here is fast-paced with satisfying combos, epic boss battles, and plenty of upgrades to keep things interesting. The visuals as well are particularly impressive, and surprisingly the story is not bad at all, which I didn't personally expect much from. Vampire Survivors is 20% off, matching the low price, and as a budget game it's an absolute steal. I've got it on PC, PlayStation and Switch, which says everything about how much I love it, but don't be fooled by its simple design. This is the kind of game that pulls you in for hours with its gameplay loop and endless replayability. And if you do want more as well, plenty of paid DLC to expand the experience with new characters, weapons and stages. At its core then, Vampire Survivors is a reverse bullet hell where you fend off hordes of enemies, constantly leveling up and unlocking new upgrades to survive just a little bit longer. The joy here is in experimenting with different character builds, discovering synergies between weapons and power-ups, and navigating the ever-escalating chaos. It's easy to pick up because it's auto-firing these attacks, but hard to master. It's also ridiculously satisfying. No matter your skill level, you're just going to keep on coming back. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition is 35% off and at a new low price. Now about the game, Cyberpunk 2077 had a disastrous launch. I was there day one, even though on PlayStation 5 it was surprisingly okay even then. But fast forward to now and it's like playing a completely different game. CD Projekt Red have just put in the work, and what an experience it has become. You'll dive into a sprawling, neon-soaked open world as Fee, a mercenary with cybernetic upgrades, tackling a story full of twists, complex characters, and just tough choices. The gameplay though blends fast-paced combat, stealth, hacking and driving, while the visuals are absolutely stunning. Then the Phantom Liberty DLC. I'm actually playing that right now myself, and that impresses even more. I wouldn't miss this experience personally. Mafia Definitive Edition is 85% off a new low price, an absolute steal in my opinion. I've always been a big fan of this series, and while the Definitive Trilogy builds had their rough patches, this first entry was a standout. Now I picked it up day one, and its charm has stood the test of time. Now admittedly the open world doesn't offer much incentive to explore, and mechanics like speed limits might annoy some, but the story, presentation and core gameplay are more than worth it. Now the game itself, it's set in the 1930s. It follows Tommy Angelo, a cab driver who gets pulled into this crime family, I guess, after what is this fateful encounter. It's a tale of loyalty, betrayal and ambition, elevated by top tier voice acting and cinematics. Gameplay wise then, it's a mix of shootouts, car chases, and quieter moments that immerse you in the world. It's very much like that kind of GTA-esque kind of experience. But I really like the period accurate setting throughout the game. I just think it makes it just a little bit unique in what is a very kind of populated genre. Alright, so now my pickups of the week, and these are not recommendations, rather maybe you'll want to join me for the ride. I'm grabbing 2 games this Black Friday, so far at least, but no doubt there will be more to come in the upcoming deals videos because again, the sale is massive. But first up is Rise of the Ronin, 43% off. New low price. I was tempted to grab this actually day one, but the lukewarm refused. They gave me pause. Now with this discount, I'm ready to dive in. It's set in Japan's Bakumatsu period. This open world action RPG lets you play as a Ronin, navigating a country torn between tradition and modernization. Combat basically blends swordplay and firearms with a focus on freedom in how you approach missions and explore that evolving world. It's got a lot of potential, and I'm curious to see if it lives up to it. The second game then is the Casting of Frank Stone Definitive Edition at 30% off a new low price, and this one also caught my attention at launch, but the mixed reviews held me back. Now though, I can't resist, and it's made by the developers behind The Quarry. It's tied to Dead by Daylight's universe, a game I love, so yeah, it's obvious kind of why I'm jumping in. But gameplay wise, it's a narrative driven adventure, and you'll unravel Frank Stone's story through branching choices, puzzles and exploration. Now sadly though, the base game isn't discounted right now, but this edition drops it below its original price, so it's the perfect excuse for me at least to finally give it a go. I also then do want to take a moment to highlight One Piece Odyssey, which is sitting at a massive 75% off discount. Now we've seen this price once before, but it's such a good drop. I do want to say here though, I won't be picking it up, not because it doesn't look great, but for a very specific reason. I'm currently watching One Piece from the very beginning, and I have a new channel launching soon where I'm attempting to review every single episode. It's a pretty ambitious project, but I've already actually recorded nearly 70-ish videos for a channel called Nakama Notes, which I will start releasing very soon. Now I'll link that channel below if you want to check it out, but because of this, I am avoiding spoilers. That said, I'd absolutely be grabbing this game otherwise. Now, as for the game itself, One Piece Odyssey is an RPG adventure that lets you join the Straw Hat crew on an original journey. You'll explore vibrant islands, solve puzzles, and engage in turn-based combat with unique mechanics that reflect the character's abilities. This then matches the lowest price we've seen, but with a discount like this, I think it's really hard to ignore for the One Piece fans out there. Pacific Drive then is 45% off a new low price, and honestly, I love this game. In fact, I reviewed it here on the channel. I'll link that video down below if you do want to check out my full thoughts. Now, I will say this, the learning curve at the start is steep. Repairing your car in a wasteland of anomalies isn't exactly intuitive, but once everything starts to click, it becomes something truly special. It's particularly gripping when you're scrambling, for example, to escape a location before disaster strikes. So yeah, if you're after something unique, this should absolutely be on your radar. Now, regarding gameplay, it's a first-person driving survival experience where your car is your only companion. It's set in a surreal then anomaly-ridden version of the Pacific Northwest, and you'll venture into the Olympic exclusion zone. Basically, your role is to scavenge resources, repair your vehicle, and then upgrade it into what becomes essentially a rolling fortress. Each trip, though, presents unpredictable challenges, from twisted anomalies to apocalyptic storms, and it's just going to force you to adapt on the fly. With every excursion, though, you'll unravel the mystery of the zone while pushing your car and yourself to the limit. It is so strange, but that's in a very positive way. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2 is 20% off a new low price, and just wow, does this deliver for the series. The first game was a classic, and this long-awaited sequel absolutely lives up to the hype. Both Jeeb and myself played it, and I think it is safe to say we loved every minute of it. Imagine Gears of War basically, but yeah, this is just pure over-the-top violent fun. The single-player campaign is just a blast, throwing hundreds of enemies at you in massive battles that are as chaotic as they are satisfying. And there's even multiplayer, which is a nice touch, though I will say here, I don't think it's quite deep enough to keep you hooked long term, or at least that's how I walked away feeling. Now, gameplay wise, you play as Space Marine Titus, humanity's ultimate warrior battling tyrannid swarms across planets. Combat again is intense, fast paced, gloriously gory, and it even features solo play or co-op up to 3 players. Alan Wake Remastered is 75% off a new low price and a horror classic. Now, personally, I've always loved this game for its narrative and its exploration. It's an atmospheric masterpiece with a gripping story and a beautifully eerie setting. That said, I've never been the biggest fan of the torch-based combat, so do be aware of that. While it's unique, basically, it just felt a little bit, I guess, clunky to me. But overall, I think that is a minor gripe in what is an otherwise stellar experience. Now, the game, it follows Alan Wake, a writer searching for his missing wife in the small, seemingly idyllic town of Bright Falls. What starts as a simple mystery then spirals into a psychological thriller as Wake battles shadowy enemies and uncovers the secrets of a dark presence that appear to be tied to his own work. The remastered version then enhances the visuals. It also includes the Signal and the Writer story expansions. Alan Wake 2 Deluxe Edition then is 50% off a new low price, and while the base game isn't on sale, this deal is a steal because it includes all of the DLC, and the expansions here are incredible. They add extra gaming content. I played this at launch and absolutely adored the experience. It's everything a sequel should be, in my opinion. Faithful to the original, but creative enough to deliver new experiences and fresh twists. The story gets wild too, and I won't spoil anything, but if you're a fan of the first game, this is an absolute must-play. And if you haven't played the original yet, trust me, I would say play both of them. The game, though, this sequel, picks up years after the events in Bright Falls, with Alan Wake trapped. Meanwhile, an FBI agent investigates a string of ritualistic murders that seem disturbingly linked to Wake's writing. The gameplay blends survival horror with psychological tension, offering dual narratives, stunning visuals, and some of the most atmospheric environments I have ever seen. It is great stuff. I can't praise it enough. Our final game then is Metaphor, 25% off a new low price, and to be transparent here, I'm still working through this one myself. I'm about 40 hours in, but so far it's shaping up to be an absolute masterpiece that every RPG fan should experience. Once I'm done, I'll drop a full review, but for now I can say it's just been this incredible ride. From the minds and behind Persona 3, 4 and 5, this game just drops you into a stunning fantasy world where you, alongside your fairy companion, you embark on a quest to lift the curse on the kingdom's lost prince. It's all about forging bonds, managing your time wisely, and unlocking the magical archetype powers that allow for party customization and strategic combat. By day, you're going to be diving into dungeons, hunting for treasure and tackling quests. By night, you'll focus on relationships and building virtues. The mix of turn-based and real-time combat then is really well implemented too. And like, if you're unsure, there's a free demo on PSN offering hours of gameplay, a perfect way to test the waters. But yeah, I'm confident in saying it's a must-play for RPG lovers. And that is the video down, but remember, I do have a couple more to come here on the channel this week, so do watch out for those and subscribe to be notified the second they go live. Honestly, as well, subscribing helps out the channel a huge amount. With that then, I'll see you all on the next one. Cheers all.